This is attorney Bilal Khalik. I am an immigration attorney here in Dallas, Texas. And I wanted to share some details about the process for asylum here in the United States of America, in case you're wondering which country you are in. So asylum is a application and a form of relief available to those people who are afraid to go back to their homeland. Now the funny thing is when I ask a lot of people, hey, are you free to go back home? And they've been here for a while, they usually have a fear of returning. It could be economic, it could be based on the culture that they don't know. There's a lot of kids who grew up in the United States and they don't even know the language and they have no family. But that's not a basis to apply for asylum. Asylum is given to those people who can prove to the US government that their life will really be in danger. And I'm going to go through certain factors and see if you are eligible for asylum. The very first thing you have to show is that you are part of a minority. Now, how do you define a minority? Is it the way you look? Is it the way you act? Not necessarily. Minority is based on your race, religion, your political opinion, and it also could be your ethnicity, and also could be your circumstances or your life experiences. Let me share an example with you. I actually had a client who went on to the Iraq war. If you remember, the US and the Allied forces went and invaded Iraq. So he went and joined the Allied forces and went to war for the United States, but he was one of the soldiers that was from a third country. When he returned back to his home, he got a lot of threats saying, hey, you're a traitor. You went to war with Iraq, you were with the United States, you're not part of our country. And he started getting a lot of threats from people, his neighbors. So he became a minority in his country, not because of his race or religion or his political opinion, but because of his life experiences. So you have to show that you're part of a minority in your country. The second thing you have to show is that your government is after you based on your minority status. Now let me share this good news with everybody, that no matter what country you're from, the official line of every country is that we don't discriminate. So, even countries in Europe, Africa, Asia, their official policy says that we will not prosecute you based on your religion, race, or your life experiences. But the reality on the ground is very, very different, right? We know that governments have an agenda and they're after people. And the way they do that is when the private party is threatening you. So again, going back to my example of the Iraq War veteran, whenever he got threatened, he called the police because he calls the government for help. And the police has said, sorry, we can't help you. And so you have to show the government is after you, or the government is not after you, then whoever is hurting you, the government refuses to control them and help them. And third thing you have to show is that all of your country is unsafe. So if you're from Pakistan, then Islamabad, Lahore, Karachi, no matter where you go, they'll hunt you down and they'll hurt you. Okay? So if you can say, look, I am a minority in this area, I'm doing an asylum for somebody who's very northern part of Pakistan, and they say, well, you know what, it's very, very hard to live there. The government, US government's going to say, well, move to a metropolitan city, move to Lahore, Karachi. They don't prosecute people based on that in that particular area. So you've got to show the whole country is unsafe. If you can show all that, then you can apply and get asylum. Now, this is a closing note. 90% of asylums usually in America are denied. And it's unfortunate, but again, the bar is set very, very high. But your first hearing is in 3 years. Then if you don't get your asylum at your first hearing, then you get referred to an immigration judge. That takes 3 years. And then if you don't get an immigration judge to give you your asylum status, then you can appeal it a couple of times. And it can take another 4 years for the final process. So asylum is a lengthy process. It can take up to 10 years. But the good news is in the US, if you live here and apply for asylum, you can get a work permit for all those years. So it's a temporary relief for you until your case is decided. If you need some more information, if you think asylum is a good option for you, if you're afraid to go back, feel free to give us a call. Our website is boldlegal.com and our phone number is 214-453-2500. Again, this is attorney Bilal Khalik.